WeatherScope.
Well, it looks like a winter storm is bringing unsettled weather to much of the east today and parts of the northeast. You're seeing rain, freezing rain, or snow. Meanwhile, in Florida, severe weather has reared its ugly head. Good morning, I'm Marshall Cease. Welcome to WeatherScope. We've got special coverage, including a crew on location in Vermont. With the details, here's Rick Griffin in our forecast center.
That's right, Marshall. We have a Friday storm that continues to affect just about the entire eastern seaboard. There's snow in New York and New England, freezing rain and sleet in parts of Maryland and Pennsylvania. Heavy rain now in portions of southeast Virginia and the coastal Carolinas. And recently we've had a whole parade of severe and in some cases tornadic thunderstorms rumbling across the Sunshine State of Florida. Right now there is a tornado watch in effect for the Florida Peninsula. You can see it there on the lower right-hand corner of your screen, and it includes you folks in Melbourne, Vero Beach, Port Charlotte, Naples, and the Tampa-St. Pete metro area until 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, a watch means conditions are favorable for tornadic thunderstorms. Now, should an additional warning, tornado warning, be issued for your area, act quickly. If you're in the path of a tornado, go to a small interior room on the lowest floor. Avoid windows and doors. If you're out on the road and you hear the sirens go off, abandon your car, abandon mobile homes for a sturdy building, or get into a ditch or culvert. But with that in mind, watch out for rising water due to heavy rain. And some of these storms in the Sunshine State right now are producing intense cloud-to-ground lightning, so look out for that. All right, the only official tornado warning in effect is for Polk County. That's just until 10:35. A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Indian River County. Now, the storm was moving northeast at 15 and will pass over Blue Cypress Lake between 10:45 and 11 this morning. So once that Polk County tornado warning expires, we'll be watching for any additional tornado warnings, and that is certainly possible because we still have some intense storms in here which could at a moment's notice intensify and produce tornadic activity. So what we have again in Florida is a rather volatile, almost springtime-like situation here in the middle of winter. We can go to the surface map and I'll show you what's happening. We do have a cold front approaching, and as it does so, as it moves east-southeast, it's clashing with a very warm, moist air mass over the Sunshine State, a destabilizing air mass, and as a result, we have had the rather numerous reports of severe weather so far this morning. Farther north, well, no severe weather to talk about, but soaking rains. Coastal Carolinas, like around Beaufort, South Carolina, and Myrtle Beach, and up around the coastal sections of North Carolina, rain has been heavy at times too. And just recently, some heavy rain reported from the Patuxent River Naval Air Station south of Washington, D.C. Now again, temperatures are above freezing in this corridor, but still somewhat below freezing over central Pennsylvania and up across New York State, where we have a rain, sleet, freezing rain changeover line right about in here. South of that, it's a little icy. North of that line, steady snows over upstate New York. Snow amounts, by the way, 1 to 2 inches over eastern New York and western New England, with radar estimates of 3 inches in Montgomery, Fulton, and Herkimer counties in the southern part of New York State's Adirondacks. Well, a little farther north than that and over the border into the state of Vermont, we have Jim Cantore in Burlington. Jim, I guess you have some snow, but the most dramatic part of the day perhaps has been the rapid temperature rise for you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Rick, we went from -4 this morning, now up to about 15 degrees, and to be out here standing, I can tell you it's a lot better off. But all in all, having spent some time in Georgia, my blood's a little thin, to be honest with you. Looking behind me, you can see here Main Street and the traffic heading down the street, but I'll tell you, it's a lot easier to travel in snow than it is in ice, and that is definitely what we're seeing here, more of an ice event than a snow event. Well, we're very happy to have, once again, Mayor Peter Clavelle, Mayor of Burlington, Vermont. He's going to let us know the status of Burlington after the ice storm, which we're still dealing with up here.
We seem to be having our share of weather this year, but the snow's no problem. We love it. It'll be a great weekend of skiing, but the ice did pose some problems for us. We had folks in Burlington that were out of power for as much as 4 days, and others in Vermont were hit far worse. North of the border in Quebec, there's still people out of power, and they've been without power since January 5th, and we've been trying to give them a hand by sending up some firewood to keep them warm. But in terms of the ice storm, we're still in the process of cleaning up after it. It's going to cost us about $1.5 million additional, both in terms of responding to the storm as well as picking up the wood debris. The legacy of the ice storm is going to be, though, the damage that it did to the trees in the city. We estimate that as much as half of the public trees were either damaged or totally destroyed as a result of the ice storm. So we're in the process of putting together a massive campaign which will raise the monies to replant trees on the streets of Burlington. The City Council on Monday evening will be considering a bond issue of $500,000 for that purpose, and hopefully the private sector will come forth as well.
Thank you very much, Mayor. We appreciate it. Again, folks, Mayor Peter Clavelle here in Burlington, Vermont, giving us an idea how they're recovering nicely so far, but there's a lot of trees that will be planted come spring, that's for sure. Bruce, Rick, back to you. I'm sorry.
Thanks a lot, Jim Cantori in Burlington, Vermont. Quickly to our snow forecast maps. We'll show you how much.
WeatherScope is sponsored by Sunkist. Just one Sunkist orange for 100% of your daily vitamin C.